General Committee meeting to order and ask the clerk to take roll.
Vice Chair Blas,
Here.
State Attorney Alexia Cox, Commissioner Cruz,
Here.
Public Defender Daniel Eisinger, Commissioner Kugler, Chair Romano,
Here.
and Commissioner Vera Garcia. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance again since we got a new crowd. Will everybody please join us? Commissioner Cruz? Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It bears repeating. All right, is there a motion to approve the Inspector General Committee meeting minutes from March 5th?
So moved. I'll second that motion.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion approved unanimously. 6-month status report. Inspector General Carey, you are on tap.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, and committee members. I am pleased to give our report for the last 6 months. And again, this will be my last report that I give you on an update on where we are. So to start out, again, I always like to start out with this slide, not just for all of us as a reminder, but for those folks out watching on Channel 20, as our mission is to provide independent and objective insight, oversight, and foresight in promoting integrity, efficiency, and overall effectiveness in government. But again, I like to, in the most simplest of terms, I like to use this analogy of a coin, two sides of the same coin. We basically root out the bad, we look for the bad, and we root it out and try to prevent that and find it. And then on the other side of the coin is promote the good. We promote the best we can in government, the most efficient and effective government that we can do to make our government better, to make good government better. So that's what we do. Here's the roadmap of where we're going to go this afternoon. Give some personnel highlights, then we get into the meat of our operations, and then we'll end up talking about our budget, our plans, where we're going, and a summary of all the activities and accomplishments that we've accomplished over the years. Now, first of all, personnel highlights. He's not here today, right in the center, our FAU audit intern, Nicholas DeJesus. And the reason he's not here, he's graduating today. So he would like to be here, but he is graduating today from FAU. And he's done a great job for us in audit, and we continually have a number of really good interns, primarily through FAU. And we've got a program with them now. They've established a program with the county where there's special funding, that those funds for those interns doesn't come through our office or the county, which is nice. So it's good help for us, and they've been really quality folks that we've had over the years. So we're really happy to have that relationship with FAU that continues to provide our interns. Patricia Judge Lashley joined in January. Patty, she goes by Patty, and wow, she has just since January been on board, and she's been like a part of the team now forever. She has really jumped in and done a great job with us. So again, welcome, Patty. We really are so glad to have you. Down at the bottom there, Chelsea Martin. Chelsea is right there. Chelsea just became a certified fraud auditor during this last 6-month period. And then the photo on the right-hand side was our group of from the office who was at the last Inspector General Institute, that where we train Inspector Generals from across the country. And starting from left to right, Stu, you see Stu Robinson. Stu is one of the primary instructors in the, especially in the investigation side on interviewing techniques. And he was just recruited by the Institute to become the course manager for the entire investigator course. So he now will be the course manager, arranging for all instructors for the certified IG investigator course. And next we have Patty. We have within the past couple years, we now have a certification for Inspector General Counsels. And so she is now a certified Inspector General Counsel. Then we have Janika Cherry. Janika, are you here? She is not here, but Janika went through, she works with Evangeline Runtz in our intake, and she is now a certified Inspector General investigator. And then, of course, we have next me, and then Calinthia. I think everybody knows Calinthia, but she is also an instructor there on a number of topics about ethics and different things in the institute there, and a board member of the Association of Inspector Generals. And then we have Lisa Inkle. Lisa, right here. Lisa, she's already a certified IG evaluator, inspector, but we cross-train all of Tony Montero's team that does procurement oversight, evaluations as certified inspector general investigators, because a lot of the work that they do is investigatory in nature. And so that certification and that training really helps them in the type of work they do. And then finally, Yair Quintanar. Yair, right over here, is now a certified inspector general auditor. And he's just been on our staff, a graduate of FAU, former intern, joined our staff doing just such a great job, and now a certified auditor. So congratulations, Yair. Now, Calinthia gets her own slide. As you know, here is your incoming IG, and the award she won during this last time was the Legacy Award from the F. Malcolm Cunningham Senior Bar Association, which is big. I'm sure our attorneys know this is the big award for that. And also the Legacy Magazine's Most Powerful and Influential Leaders for 2026. And there she is on the cover of the magazine. And I jokingly tell Calinthia that she had to become the next IG, because she needs a bigger office for all of her rewards and recognitions that she's received. Now we're going to go into the nuts and bolts of what we've done for the last 6 months from an operations perspective. And to start us off, I'm going to turn it over to Stu Robinson, the Director of Investigations, on intake investigation highlights. Stu?
John touched on it, but thank you for the opportunity to meet with you every 6 months. I do appreciate it, tell you about the good things we've got going on in investigations and intake. John briefly touched on it. Another FAU intern is coming on board with our intake staff in May. Young lady with about to get a degree in marketing and digital communications that will be working on improving our social media outreach, modernizing so that we can get even more and better intakes. So let's start with...
I'll have to get a list. There's too many names now. I'll have to get the list from you later.
Yes.
It sounds great.
So the intake activities for the last 6 months, they tend to be cyclical. In this case, they're fairly consistent. We have a similar number of information coming in. We try to leverage that into more new, more important, better use of our time, full investigations. Of note, we get fewer with the COVID era having largely expired for lots of government assistance through the county. We get fewer smaller dollar fraud investigations referred to us. When we get fraud investigations referred to us, they tend to be larger amounts or of more impact for us to work them. And because of that, when you see the numbers stay the same for intake and there's fewer of these bulk fraud referrals, that means we're still opening some pretty interesting new investigations that aren't necessarily assistance fraud in addition to assistance fraud ones. Our full investigation activities, also cyclical and also reasonably similar to the last 6 months. So now let's get into the nuts and bolts of the investigative reports that went out the past 6 months. The first one, the lead investigator was Hugo Bellinger. I draw your attention to the graphic on the right side of the visual. It's a sample of large-scale social media advertisements to commit fraud against the county that multiple people were putting into the public. One of those people that did so, Lakita Westbrook, was the subject of one of our reports. She sold fake assistance documents supporting fraudulent assistance applications to multiple people. County funded those people and then caught on to her being out there and referred her to us. There were multiple additional people on social media doing the same thing that we identified, that, and all of these folks have been referred to law enforcement. So we don't just want to issue reports on the people we catch. We also want to have a positive effect on the community that can't be measured in fraud, lost dollars and cents. So we did two things to leverage the information we learned through these investigations. The first is we put out a tips and trends that in about a page and a half, 2 pages, summarized the nature of how these social media outreach posts work that advertise the potential to get fraudulent documents for the specific intention of using them for assistance applications, not just through the county, but certainly through the county, but also through municipalities in the county and beyond the county. So this Tips and Trends got great feedback. It goes out to all of it goes on our website and into our social media. It also goes to every government entity that we have jurisdiction over. And then we got feedback that it was also being distributed through the school district to nonprofits in the county so that they see best practices, not just of how to identify fraud, but how to stop it before it happens. The second way, yes, sir.
What would be an example of a fraudulent document that she would have sold?
It's a very good question. There's a lot of things that could work. For instance, a lot of the fraud cases we work are through county rental assistance, where you get $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 of your rent paid with the assertion that that you have had a loss of income through some acceptable category that allows you to have the county give you rent assistance. And of note, there's a limited amount of money for people that really need it. So people that defraud these systems aren't just stealing money from the taxpayers, they are reducing that small pot of money for people that really need it, that might not have, the county might not have enough left for them. So an example of that is a fraudulent lease. So you don't really live there because the assistance goes to the landlord. It doesn't go to the applicant. So a fraudulent lease, a fraudulent landlord that isn't really the landlord, you need to put in bank statements, identification documents. We have identity theft matters where a fraudulent landlord steals identifying documents of an applicant. We'll get to one of those. All of these documents that the county needs, and the county does a very good job of community services, does a good job of having fail-safes. They cross-check other programs, they cross-check criminal databases, but some of them still get through.
Thank you. Commissioner Cruz?
Yes, back to Miss Lady Luck here. She actually advertised this online, that she'd create fake documents.
That's a real one.
She's not very lucky, is she?
And one of our investigators was one of the people that first saw these Facebook posts. Chelsea Martin saw these Facebook posts, and we keep our eyes open throughout the county, not just looking for citizen complaints. We try and generate things that matter ourselves. So the other way we leverage this is our office attends the quarterly fraud working group meeting for all law enforcement in the county. It's chaired by the FBI, but it includes all state, local agencies. And so a summary of our findings on all of the people that were doing this, not just Ms. Westbrook, was shared with 205 law enforcement officers from over 100 law enforcement agencies at that quarterly meeting. It was direct email to each of those 205 law enforcement officers. So now an example of how these false documents can be used. In this case, Lizette McGowan, who's here today, was the lead investigator. This was an applicant who claimed to be living at a rental address and was not.
The landlord was in on it. Originally, investigations have lives of their own because the fake landlord would not interview with us through the life of the investigation. And we have a draft report that goes out for comment from the subjects. When the fake landlord got a copy of our draft report, the applicant, who split the money, blamed her. So at that point, the fake landlord called us to let us know that this applicant shouldn't be blaming her because he did it too and they split the money. That was referred to law enforcement. We did the report on both of them. The next report that we put out this 6-month period was also Lizette McGowan as the lead. This was a fox in the hen house. Anitra Jones was a contracted and then permanent for a little while county community services employee during the COVID era. She had access to the internal systems of the county. In that capacity, she stole the identities of legitimate applicants and then reapplied to her benefit as a fake landlord. That report went out, and we are currently actively working with law enforcement who will be working on that, hopefully towards a matter with the state attorney's office. The last thing I'll leave you with is we have 3 reports this time around, but stay tuned because in the next week or 2, we have 2 more full reports coming out. These 3 were fraud ones. The next 2 are about misconduct in municipal government. So stay tuned. There's 2 more on the way very soon. Any questions?
Thank you, Stu. Any questions? All right, thank you very much. Tony, you look like you're teed up.
Yeah, thank you, Stu. And again, thanks again, just for Chelsea. Where is it? Chelsea again. Looking and seeing some of these things on proactively, looking out there and finding some things that are off on social media. You know, some of our folks, by just being alert, they're trained, they've got good eyes, and they see things and bring some of our cases to us here. So we've got a great office of folks who are looking out there, great investigators doing some fantastic things. And again, more to come. So I'm going to turn it over to Tony Montero now. And again, I bragged about him in the past along with the other folks, and I'll brag it some more on Tony because he is the procurement contract expert, not only for our county, but he speaks. Cities in the county often ask Tony to come and speak to them. He's spoken at our National Inspector General Institute, and he's requested often to speak on procurement, contract oversight, and he is the expert, well known not just within the county, but outside of this county and nationally. So we're really fortunate to have Tony, and I'll turn it over to him now.
Good afternoon, Tony Montero, Contract Oversight and Evaluations. Okay, so for this 6-month period, about the same numbers, 44 monitored activities. We issued 2 formal reports, and we have still 13 ongoing complaints, investigative activities going on. It's like a constant feed, so we get rid of 5 more come in, and so we're hovering about 13, 12 in that range. Okay, our first report was a great one. It was issued by Sonia McNair. Very involved, complex complaint that came in, many moving pieces to it. And she did a great job digging through a tremendous amount of information to get to the guts of what went on here. But the city of Riviera Beach put out a contract. They were trying to do a P3, public-private partnership, to build fire stations. But when you read the solicitation, I mean, they may have planned to buy multiple ones, but the solicitation only mentions one station. The only possible inference you can draw from it is they use the word facilities with an S in there once. And they said that allowed them the opportunity to add a second station. We disagreed because when you build a building, there's a lot more involved, plans, locations, and so we issued a report on that said, we didn't agree that was, we're not questioning the need for the fire station. We're not questioning, that just the process on how they came up with it. And that was our recommendation back to them. The staff train them, amend them, the policies, especially on the public-private partnerships. And I've briefed this before about how many public-private partnerships are going on out there and the amount of money that's involved in these things. And here you're talking about fire stations at $18–19 million a shot. So, that was a good one.
Question?
Yes, sir.
What's the result of this? Did that go back to the drawing board in Riviera? Do you know what the outcome was?
Of this
report?
Oh, they're going to make some changes, they said, in terms of process and procedures, but they started building one station. They were going to build a second station, but that one got delayed because the property they wanted to build it on wasn't theirs. And so they had to delay that one, and they started on this station, but it was all within 6 months to a year of each other. So by the time we got involved with the complaint, the first station was already complete, and the second station was halfway done. And one of them, I think, is their EOC center now, too. But they also had a lot of transition during that time. They didn't have a purchasing director, and a lot of the people who worked on the initial solicitation were no longer there with the city. So finding out what happened, where the documents were, it was a struggle. Okay, the next one. One of the things that we like to do is we're good at those special needs, and that is going out and doing a special evaluation, a special review, perhaps an inspection. So the investigative division wrote 2 reports about contracts, parts contracts, cost plus parts contracts, and investigators that are vendors that had committed fraud by submitting parts invoices from fake companies. Our audit team did an audit of a city, and they found in that audit the same thing, that not fraud, but they found that the procedures were very lax and they were not getting the parts invoice and the documentation that they need to justify this type of contractual arrangement. And we understand there's some challenges when you set up a contract like this, but the opportunity for fraud is tremendous, and so you have to be really careful. So John came out and said, okay, go forth and look at some other municipalities. So my team went out, Tiffany, Sonia, and Lisa, they went out and did reviews at 5 entities. Tiffany Thomas generated a report from one that you saw last time we briefed, and that was for the Jupiter Electrical contract. They had a problem with piggybacking, but that was outside of the review that we were doing. It's just something we happened to notice while we were there. The 5 in total municipalities we went to, they were mostly in compliance, but there were some procedural mishaps along the way in the background. And a lot of it comes from people who don't understand the contract that they wrote, changeover of personnel, no documentation, no procedures. And so it wasn't enough that we felt like we could write an individual report on it, but we wanted everyone to learn from these lessons. So Lisa Inkel put up a combination report and just got the lessons learned from these 5 entities that we went to, and just said, okay, here's what you need to do, here's what you need to think about. People tend to focus a lot on buying stuff, but at the back end, when it comes to administering it, the invoices, the receipt, that's where procedures tend to lax a little. And so we gave them some very specific guidance on things that they should do in a contract situation like this. Yes, sir.
Yeah, as an auditor myself, I generally focus on the types of contracts that are given out because they're either a sole source or an emergency or a piggyback contract. And a lot of times it's not true. There are other opportunities. It wasn't as much as an emergency. I wonder if part of the focus when you look at the contracts, is it appropriate for it to be a sole source? Or is it appropriate to be an emergency? Or is it just steering a contract to whoever the grantor is intending to?
Yes, sir, it is. And we, in fact, just closed out a complaint today where somebody was complaining about an entity that was using an emergency certification. So we sent some suggestions to that entity, but we're always looking at those other than competitive transactions, such as piggybacking, the sole source. It's very difficult when you start getting into some of those things like piggybacking and sole source, because you're almost entirely relying on the code for that city. If they didn't put it in their code, there's no levels above that, state or federal. There's nothing that else kicks in that compels them. Now, if they're using federal funds, there's some laws out there, but like I said, at the state level, unless they put it themselves in code, it's very hard to find a standard to get them on.
But can't they use the internet to find other vendors who could possibly supply that service?
Yeah, they can. Do they? It's the willingness, to compete it, to take that extra step to go out and search those. It's very hard if they get challenged, but again, the only way that they're going to get challenged if another vendor comes in and says, wait a minute, I can do that, why did you do this? And we look for the reasonableness of it. That's about the best we can do, is say, hey, really, we're talking health, welfare, safety issues. We're not talking you really needed this building painted or whatever it is that they did, and that's not an emergency just because you ran out of time.
Right. Well, one other point, do you have a preference between the fixed price and the cost plus contracts as an investigator?
Everyone loves fixed price if you have sufficient competition on it. The cost plus contracts are important when you're doing a facilities maintenance operation. Unfortunately, it's a big opportunity for fraud. When I was in the federal government, we had the government-operated civil engineering stores and the contractor-operated civil engineering stores. I shut so many of those down because they were violating the contract, floating parts and fake invoices, things like that. But if used properly, it's an effective tool at controlling the cost. So rather than have the vendor put all that extra cost in to make a fixed price contract work, on a cost contract, you're looking at things saying, well, wait a minute, I want to get this part for cost. Oh, wait, don't buy that. We're going to get rid of that piece of equipment. Or, you know what, we'll buy the part directly and we'll pay less money than you will for it. So as long as you manage it properly, it is an effective cost tool.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so, and you remember this slide, this is the, most of our work is below the waterline. You don't see a lot of what we do. And we do procurement reviews, and we do a little bit of audit, we do a little bit of performance. We go out there and being in a field and taking the shovel out and digging little test holes and see if we find anything. So that's how contract oversight operates. So one of the things that we're always looking at, we want to make sure that everything we do is fair and unbiased. And I'm always checking our metrics to make sure that we are being balanced in our approach. You don't want somebody coming forward and saying, well, why are you guys picking on me? No, we're not. It's, we're being fair to everybody. And so that's kind of what these show. Of the 44 activities that we did this last 6 months, 57% were with the municipalities. That's roughly about 27. And the rest were split between the county and the special districts and the joint projects. If you look at it from a dollar perspective, again, 57% coincidentally is for the municipalities, so that's about $270 million. And so we're looking at how we where we spend our time, what we're doing, what we're looking at. And just naturally, we seem to be balanced in the office and how we select projects and how we decide where to look. Next one is we're looking at the different types of projects that we do. So we want to make sure we're not just focused on construction or services. We try and do equipment and grants and just general reviews of things. And in this case, you could see again, commodity-wise, we're fairly well balanced. And the complaints, if you look at the slide, are roughly 38.6% of those. So 17 are complaints that we've received, in regards, it might be a construction one, it might be a service, but 38.6 of what we did were just complaints.
Tony, does the IG's office do any training to our procurement professionals to help them develop really accurate requests for proposal and contracts so that we don't get hammered with change orders?
We go to training and we conduct training. We get a lot of phone calls in the office asking us questions, what we do. I have a slide coming up on that, but I had somebody call up and say, we've never done this type of contract, a CMAR contract before. They said, we have no idea how to put the solicitation out. Can you help us? And so I gave them some advice, some tips, gave them some best practices, some examples to show them, and we actually sat down and talked about the process, and they understood how to do it, and they decided to go that route. That was the best route for this big construction project that they were going to try and do. People were trying to corner them into doing the wrong type of bid, and it would have been rougher for them to get a good result that way. And as you'll see in a slide coming up, we gave training to the city of Boca Raton, to their purchasing professionals, as well as anybody involved in procurement in the city was invited to this training session, and we talked about best practices, red flags, gave them some tips for how to do things better, including how to make their RFPs better.
Thank you. Commissioner Cruz?
Yes,
Tony, you have special districts on here. Remind me, does the IG ordinance allow you to go to all special districts in the county?
No, that's a John and Calinthia question, but I know SWA is one of the entities that we cover from a contract oversight
So
standpoint.
it's just like the COE, they have to enter a special agreement? Okay.
Tony, if I could just
Oh, yeah.
talk about, yeah, that's a real interesting area that we consider dependent special districts are a sub-element of the cities or the counties. So if it's a dependent special district, we interpret our ordinance as that we have jurisdiction over them. It's the independent special districts, particularly, that we need to have an agreement with them if they want to have us come on in and have that jurisdiction.
Okay, and same thing again, this is the contract activities by dollar value. So of the 483 million, 22.6% were complaints, and you could see that, construction is the big ticket item, and a lot of that, as you read in the paper, is because of some of the P3 projects that are going on. Okay, and this is our outreach and training. We do a lot of outreach, training, assistance that we provide people. So this is John, Lisa, Sonia, and Tiffany. They did the Palm Beach Gardens Vendor Expo show, and that's their picture over there on the left-hand side. And it was so funny because when they announced the expo this year, they put on the poster to advertise it a picture of Sonia and Lisa. So they were the poster children for this event, and we're very proud that they used them. So we're hoping next year they'll use that photo, the one on the left, and send that out to all the vendors. But yeah, that was kind of nice. And that was an open house with vendors. We meet, we talk about things, introduce them to the IG, and it's a very rewarding experience. The next event we did was the Boca Procurement Month, NIGP, the National Institute for Government Purchasing. They had a procurement month in March. And so they invited us to speak, and there were, 40, 50 people there at least, a lot of them directors, or people who actually are involved in procurement. That was a great experience. It was one of our first opportunities to go to Boca Raton, so we were very happy that they invited us. And the last item is, as I said, I get phone calls, we get requests in all the time asking us just general questions. Here are just some of the questions that they ask us. One of them was from a town. They got a bid in, and the vendor didn't fill out any of the certifications, and they were lost. They really didn't understand why the certifications were in there to begin with, and they didn't know if the vendor can just say no. So I pointed them to the right part in the statutes and gave them some advice. We always try and get them to their legal professionals to help them along, understand what was going on here. But we connected that certification that was in the bid to their award criteria and some other statements in their bid, so that they knew, do you disqualify this vendor or not? And my advice to them was, okay, now you have all the knowledge, make a decision, go talk to your legal counsel, document it, and then you can get on your way. Next one, again, the same thing. Somebody asked, can we make the cone of silence more restrictive? And I'm like, yes, of course, there's examples of it. A lot of entities have added on to the cone of silence in their own code. And then they said, well, does it apply to the Community Redevelopment Agency? And we got into the independent versus dependent district, and who's their board, where's their authority, and do they respond? Do they have to comply with all your current ordinances? And are they doing any procurement of any nature that requires a cone of silence? So we talked about that for a while. Again, sent them to their general counsel, because this is a major change for a city. But I gave them some examples of those municipalities that the CRA does fall under a cone of silence. And so they took all that well-armed information and off to go see counsel. I talked about the CMAR contract, and somebody else came in and asked us, they wanted to, if I had an example of a construction manual, and I said, there's thousands of pages out there. Most of it's in policy and procedures. I said, make friends with a couple of good facilities managers and see if you could get a copy of their policies and procedures, because it's very, very extensive. No one has like one manual that does it all. It's all series of short policy memos. So that was a good one.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. My question is about certification about the insurance, the proper insurance of the vendors. Do they have to attest to that during the bidding process, and how is that reviewed?
We did a great report on it. Tiffany Thomas did it. We found an entity that was doing a library renovation, and it was just supposed to be a simple construction inspection. Tiffany walked in there and uncovered a whole bunch of stuff, starting with they didn't comply with the E-Verify law, and then it kind of snowballed from there. And once the city realized something wasn't quite right, they started digging into it themselves, and they noticed that the vendor had submitted a false insurance certificate. So they called the insurance agency. They verified that it was an altered certificate. They contacted DFS, and within a month they had agents on the case that were after the vendor. He had done the same thing down in Broward County. We put out a tips and trends, and we put out a report on it. Tiffany gave very specific instructions how to check the insurance certificate, the bond, and the contractor's license. That was another issue we found. They were using a contractor's license, and we had no idea who this person was. He was never on the job site, and we could never find him, so it was almost like a fictitious certificate, and that's whose license they were using to do the work that they were, hired for on the building.
Right. I hope that's part of the bid review process, is to make sure that the insurance is in place, and somebody has to attest that they've at least made that phone call.
We have a very, in there, it does talk about the vendor responsibility. And you have some entities that take it a step further, like the county. They actually hire an outside vendor, and all the certificates get sent to that vendor, and they double-check all those certificates, put them on file, and if they expire and they don't get a replacement, everything, they take care of managing all of that, because it can be quite extensive.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tony.
Okay, now you just saw, you got a demonstration of what an expert we have here in procurement. It does an excellent job. And one slide I'd like to point out that Tony had put up of all those pie charts, almost a $500 million worth of procurement activities over this last 6 months that his shop, in some way or another touched and provided oversight to that in monitoring to make sure we're doing right. So, I mean, this is where the big dollars are spent in procurement, contracting, buildings, and it's an investment that we make in that monitoring. It's that proactive side to try to help people. You can see he does a lot of help, but also just our very presence. I like to say Tony and his team are like that patrol car that's going up and down 95. I guarantee, I don't know about you, but when I see him, I always look down at my speedometer. And that's what his office does, a lot of that up and down 95 patrol that really is preventative just in nature of them being out there and being at meetings and being around, and then a place to call. So does a great job, and again, doesn't get a lot of reports that come from that, but I guarantee you that we are making our money big time out of Tony and the team. So thank you. Okay, next up, I'm going to turn it over to Hilary Bojan, our Director of Audit, to talk about some of our audit highlights. Hilary?
Good afternoon. Hilary Bojan, Director of Audit. So over the past 6 months, we had 10 ongoing audits. We issued 3 audit reports over that 6-month period. In those reports, they contained 46 recommendations, of which 45 were accepted, and we identified $47,942 in question costs and potential cost savings. Oops, sorry about that. You didn't see the slide I was talking about. Okay, the first audit we issued this 6-month period was back in October. We audited the Solid Waste Authority's tipping fee revenue and cash intake process. This audit was performed by Hank Nagel. He's here today. We found several weaknesses in the SWA's process. Accounts receivable reconciliations did not always reconcile variances, and they were not performed timely or properly reviewed. The write-off of delinquent accounts was not performed consistently, resulting in past due accounts that ranged from 4 to 31 months past due. Customer security deposits and surety bonds were not always reviewed in compliance with their procedures, and that resulted in accounts with balances due or written off in excess of the deposit amount. Management review of voided and manual tickets, which have a higher risk of cash theft, was not documented. And management approval of hauler charge accounts, which are credit accounts, was also not always documented. Management concurred with our findings and accepted the recommendations in that audit.
Excuse me, does the IG's office encourage the use of credit cards as opposed to cash at the tipping stations? And if so, do they recover the 3%?
Oh, I don't know if we encourage it, but if they are going to use, if they're going to continue using cash, they have to have the appropriate controls in place. And then with credit cards, I'm not sure what the SWA's policy was on that, if they charged the fee back to the customer or not. But they do use credit or accept credit cards rather, and it is usually less work for the SWA to process those payments than to maintain taking in cash.
Oh, it's way faster.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just wondering if they had controls. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's also much better than controlling cash,
Yeah. exactly.
Moves the line faster.
What, can I ask you, what initiated that audit? Was that something that was brought to your attention by someone at the SWA? How did that all come about?
This audit was actually part of our audit plan for fiscal year 2020, I believe 24. We had revenue processes on our plan. And it had been a while since we looked at SWA.
Got it.
Okay, our next audit was for the Palm Beach County Workforce Housing Program, the Wellington Club Apartments, and it was conducted by Sean L. Brathwaite. We conducted this audit in response to a management request from the former county administrator. The Workforce Housing Program was created to increase housing opportunities for people employed in Palm Beach County jobs that keep the community viable, like nurses, teachers, firefighters. Workforce housing units are either for sale units or rentals, and they generally target households with 60 to 140% of the median area income. For rental units, the program establishes a maximum amount of rent that can be charged, and it's based on that renter's income. And the workforce housing unit, rental units rather, are governed by a restrictive covenant between the county and the owner of the apartment complex. We found that the owner's property manager for the Wellington Club Apartments overcharged renters that we tested collectively over $30,000 between 2018 and 2023. The county identified some of those overcharges, and renters received credits which reduced the overpayments to approximately $22,000. We found that the county's monitoring of the program was not sufficient to identify that those renters had been overcharged. Additionally, the county and the owner's property managers did not always follow the restrictive covenants requirements related to eligibility and documenting and reporting that eligibility, as well as the rental leases that the owner's property manager had for those program participants did not contain the required restrictive language. From 2018 forward, the county gradually enhanced its monitoring activities as they identified deficiencies in their program and trends in noncompliance among the properties. So the county accepted or partially accepted all but one of our 10 recommendations in that audit. Yes.
Why did the credits only account for a third of the overpayments, and I assume the landlord got to keep the other overpayment?
Well, as of the end of our audit, that was the 22,000 was the amount overpaid. The county did accept our recommendation to keep working with the owner's property manager so that those residents will receive a credit.
So it's just ongoing?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, and our last audit for the 6-month period was for the Town of Jupiter Inlet Colony's insurance benefits and former mayor and former commissioners' travel and purchasing card expenses. And this audit was conducted by Kathy Davis. She's here today also. This audit was initiated in a response to a management request. The town manager informed us that a former mayor and a former commissioner had been enrolled in the town's disability income insurance policy and raised concerns that that coverage violated the town's charter. We found that the town improperly paid insurance premiums for that former mayor in violation of the town charter as well as the insurance policy. We did not, however, find sufficient evidence that the former mayor voluntarily enrolled in that program or that he received any claims paid. We found that the former commissioner had enrolled herself in the employee insurance plan. However, she had reimbursed the town for those premiums prior to our audit. In addition, we found that the town improperly paid health and dental insurance premiums for a former police chief's spouse and several former employees. The former police chief's spouse had identified herself as an employee on the insurance enrollment form when she was not. And regarding the former employees, the town had delayed notifying the insurance company that those employees had it separated. We referred those findings to the appropriate insurance plans so that they could review it for fraud. This audit also looked at credit card purchases made on or behalf of the former mayor and the former commissioner. We found that the town credit card statements were not properly reviewed and approved, and many of the former mayor's purchases lacked sufficient supporting documentation, such as receipts and invoices or the required documentation by their policy. We also found that a car repair for the former mayor was inappropriately paid by the town for his personal car. Lastly, we found that the travel expenditures of the former mayor and former commissioner were not properly approved in accordance with their travel policy, And the former mayor's travel expenditures were also not in compliance with the town's travel policy requirements in many cases. The town accepted our recommendations, which included recouping over $30,000 in insurance premiums that it improperly paid to the police chief's spouse, and to improve internal controls over its insurance benefit, travel, and credit card processes. Okay, so this slide and the next are a snapshot of our in-process and planned audits for this fiscal year. We currently have 10 audits in process, several of which are expected to be completed by the end of this fiscal year. And on the next slide, it continues the current year projects as well as our planned projects, which include 7 global audit areas selected during our risk assessment. A global area approach was chosen for our audit plan because it increases the flexibility and coverage of our team. A global area is basically a process, function, or program that can be audited. The global areas selected for this year's plan were identified as high-risk areas for the county or municipalities in our annual risk assessment. Using this approach, we can select entities for audit based on a global area that presents a risk for that entity, as well as based on the available audit staff that have the appropriate experience and skills for that area. And that concludes the overview of audit division activities.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
Yeah,
Yes, Chair.
I have one question.
Commissioner Blas?
Yes, on the planned audit of the city of Delray Beach law enforcement overtime, what's the focus of that audit? Is it whether it's necessary, whether it was approved, or?
It is if the overtime is recorded and paid accurately and in accordance with their policies and procedures. So we're looking for, to make sure that the time worked is supported by records that show that the officer worked, such as like call-in and call-out records. And then we're also looking at if any of that overtime overlapped with any other time that the city paid those officers.
I see. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Chair, yeah. I had one question. Thank you so much for the comprehensive report. I know that what comes to us during our meetings are the recommendations and some of the issues that were uncovered during the audit. When you do the audits that might be perfect, or maybe some people get a clean report, is there a place where that information is also captured, or does that information come back to us? You know, we conducted an audit, there were no findings. Do we learn about that as well, or is it posted
Yes.
somewhere?
Yes, if we complete an audit and there are no findings, you'll still receive an audit report. It will say as much that the scope of the audit, the objectives, and that we didn't find any issues there. And so you'll receive that. If we don't complete an audit, if it's canceled, you might not see that. But of course, anybody can ask. We usually issue a management letter to those entities to let them know that we've canceled an audit.
Okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hillary. I think one thing I'd like to highlight on, Hillary, the different cost categories that we have up there, and I've said this before, but I want to just kind of repeat the 3 main categories. There's question cost, identified cost, and cost avoidance, or avoidable cost. Now, the identified costs are costs that clearly, right now, we're saying that the entity can go back and hopefully recoup from either a vendor or a wrongdoer in some way. The avoidable cost is where we make a recommendation, and so in the future, if they enact our recommendation, if you put these new policies, new procedures in place, that you can save money in the future by doing that. The other category, and that's the largest category that we usually find, is question cost. And it is a broad category that is in the Federal Inspector General Act, that the federal IGs and all the federal IGs, many state and local IGs use this same term. And that's a broad category. And I like to, it's got a long definition, but I like to say basically what is that? That is that we are not accounting for taxpayer dollars in the way we should be usually. It's in many, for example, in audits or in investigations, to find fraud or to find if we're spending our money properly, well, the first thing you have to have is receipts and paperwork. And many times the entities, they're not tracking those receipts. So we have so basically, I have no idea if you're proper. I don't know if somebody's stolen money from us or not, because we're not tracking it properly. And so that's putting the entities on notice. We need to more properly account for the dollars. Or in other instances, like the incident that Tony had on the fire station. It's like, that's good, you needed 2 fire stations. We're not questioning whether there was a need there, but you didn't go about it the proper way in building that fire station. You used the criteria from a previous fire station that did not allow you, within the very makeup of the contract or the very makeup of the documents, to build another one. So we're saying, you in that case, you didn't follow procedure, and they built another station without the proper justification in the way they should have. So it puts the agencies on notice. So it's really important. Question costs. Sometimes people say, well, why are you putting that down? Because it puts a dollar amount on the severity of when we are not tracking or using or accounting for our taxpayer dollars the way we should be. And it's a very important category that we list out there. So that's one thing I want to mention on those 3 terms. And another thing on Hillary, she mentioned the Wellington workforce housing audit. The county learned a lot of lessons themselves along the way, getting into this business of workforce housing. It is big, as we've all know in the news. I mean, for common workers coming here to work in Palm Beach County, finding housing is very difficult. It's very high just to live here. And so these are very important programs with thousands and thousands of dollars that were grants and programs the county is trying to open up to get people who do a lot of our work here so they can afford here. But nevertheless, there's a lot of overhead in this, and they're tough administering these programs. And the county, again, along the way, they learn lessons. They learn lessons with us along the way. As we were doing the audit, we didn't wait till the very end to provide them feedback. It's like in any audit that we're doing, we feed information to the agency as we find it so they can make improvements and not wait for months down the road when we're finished. So it's an area that we're going to continue to provide oversight in this area, because again, a lot of needy people out there who need workforce housing, but yet there's difficulties in oversight of these programs, and we'll continue to be involved in helping the county and the cities administer this vast amount of funds properly. So next, we're going to talk about our training outreach, and I'm going to turn it over to Calinthia to talk about that.
Good afternoon.
Congratulations again.
Thank you, Chair Romano, Vice Chair Blast, Commissioners. Thank you so much for having the faith in me and the vote of confidence and choosing me to be the next IG. I'm very excited. I won't say I'm not nervous, but I'm looking forward to the challenge ahead. But before I really get into the training and outreach, I do want to say that I want to take the opportunity just to thank John for everything he's done as our leader for the last 12 years. We're definitely sad to see him leave. I don't take it personally that our staff is sad to see him leave, but fortunately he's not going very far, and hopefully he'll continue to answer my calls when I call for advice. But we're just fortunate to have worked so long for a person who has integrity, who is committed to excellence, and who is dedicated to independent oversight. So we are definitely lucky, and we benefit from having his leadership. And people tell you the sign of a true leader is someone who encourages others, who instills in others, inspires others, and build other leaders. And he's definitely committed to those principles. And I want to thank him for helping me get to the point that I am today. And he's been a true mentor and a leader. And as I've told staff, leadership will change, but our mission and commitment to oversight will not. So I just want to thank him. So over the last 6 months, we've continued our efforts towards outreach and training. You've heard a little bit about that previously from some of the other presenters. We've have concerted effort in reaching out to not only government employees, but to members of the public, vendors, and the IG community at large. Stu is kind of our leader when it comes to talking about fraud. He's part of the Palm Beach County Fraud Task Force. He also provides new employee orientation every week for Palm Beach County. John and Hillary provided oversight or training for FAU, MBA, and accounting students throughout the 6 months. John is always available for the media to answer questions. You know, our reports are not for our internal benefit. It's not just for the subjects or the auditees. It's also for the public. And, you know, one of the audiences is the media. So sometimes they call and they have questions, and he's always available to answer those questions. We're very active with the IG community, speaking both with the Florida IG community as well as the national IG community. I speak on ethics, the history of the IG function. Stu talks about internal controls that falls outside of investigations, but he's become an expert on everything, so we value that from him. That's why they've asked him to take over the investigative role at the Institute. We continue to do our publications, which include our tips and trends. We have our outreach poster that we did for Ethics Awareness Month in March, and our annual report. I spoke at St. Thomas University on 2 occasions, one on ethical leadership and a second occasion on ethics in the age of AI. And I spoke at Ave Maria Law School on the history of IGs. So we continue to get out there and to do outreach and to communicate with the public to let them know what we do and the service that we provide to taxpayers. As you see from this slide, we were very busy over the last 6 months. Again, you see our poster. We had a table outside this building, so as people went in and out, they got information about our office and what we do. We have the program guide where Christy Kelly and John were on the cover that went out to the taxpayers throughout Palm Beach County. John spoke on Politically Speaking with Todd Von Laren before he left his position. Evangeline Rentz and I spoke at a middle school job fair, and I also spoke at a job and career fair for Path to College. These are middle and high school students, which aren't necessarily our typical population, but I do think that the IG community has a role in talking to people about civic engagement and our role in democracy. Our country was founded on the idea of checks and balances, and that's what we do. We want to hold taxpayer, government employees accountable for the taxpayer dollars that they spend, but I think it's important to instill that knowledge and importance in our students as well, not just our adult population who are the actual taxpayers. So, budget and staffing. We always talk about the difficult conversations that we've had throughout the years about budgeting. As you know, our office was initially set up with the idea that we would have 40 people in our office. We've never been fully funded to that level. Working with the county, we have increased over time. We're currently funded for 30 positions. We have 29 positions filled. We acknowledge that, you know, government across the state are being asked to make some cuts. We aren't unique to that, and we're, I guess, part of that conversation, but we have gotten some indication from the county that they still have a true commitment to oversight, and I believe that we will be able to continue with the current funding for the 29 positions. So we are happy with those discussions that we've had with our county administrator. Now, of course, I would love to increase the number of people that we have so that we can increase our capacity, but we'll continue to do what we've always done, provide the highest level of service with the resources that we have. And as you can see with this slide, we repeat it often, as was written in our 2024 AIG peer review report. The sheer size of the operations of your office, that your office oversees, your office's jurisdiction and responsibility is unparalleled by any other local government inspector general office. Many IG offices cover one agency or one program. As you know, we have jurisdiction over not only county government, but the 39 municipalities and 2 special districts as well, which means we oversee over 1,000 audible units with over $12 billion in budgeted funds. So we do a lot. We do a lot with a few, but we have a small but mighty staff who are committed, who work hard, and we do all of that for just $3 per citizen. So we feel that we do take our own advice and make the most for the taxpayer dollars that we're entrusted with. I do want to leave you with one last point and just a discussion about plans and objectives for the future. Once I take over, we will continue to implement our 2023-2028 strategic plan, which is a living, breathing document. We articulated certain goals within that plan to deliver results that promote integrity, excellence, and accountability in government, strengthen relationships and build trust with external stakeholders, maximize organizational effectiveness. So some of the things that I would like to do to help us achieve those goals are consider some of the technological tools that we can embrace in our office to help us be more efficient, to use more data analytics in what we're doing, and also to understand the role of AI. I would like for us to follow the lead of the county. We have to kind of slow walk it and do what they are allowing us to do under our policies and procedures. But as people who collect evidence, it's important that our staff is trained on the fact that AI is out there. We have to be aware that if the evidence we are collecting lacks credibility because it's been manipulated through deep fakes or what have you, so we have to make sure we have that knowledge as investigators, as auditors, as reviewers, to understand the impact of AI on our society. The second part of that is enhancing social media and branding. Stu mentioned that a little bit, so we're going to have some conversations as we bring on our new intern about ways that we can use social media to increase our outreach and really lean into the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And going back to what I said before and explain to the public not only what we do, but our role in enhancing trust in government. So John's last day is June 22nd. We wanted to have a huge celebration with fireworks. He won't let us do that. So we will, have a small lunch to honor him. And I would encourage you to stop by, say hello, give him a call, just to remind him how much we appreciate it. And we're going to lean on him as we navigate this transition period. Thank you so much. Does anyone have questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, thank you very much for that presentation, and lots of good luck, Inspector General Dilliard. After spending more than 40 years in government, I hope we come to the day where Inspector General organizations aren't considered a cost, but rather an investment. And if we would have 10 more people working for the Palm Beach County Inspector General's office, I am certain not only would more money be collected, but more people would be on guard and know that there is a presence. So I'm sure that I'm preaching to the choir to you about that today.
And I'll add all that to my notes when I have my conversation with the county administrator.
You will have me as support, and I don't need to be political about it. But I do want to make two other quick comments. First, I too want to thank Inspector General Carey as the longtime president of the Palm Beach County chapter of the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners. Inspector General Carey has always been there for our organization, has spoken many times, and has always made the people in the group available for the training that we provide and that the association provides. And certainly to Christopher Dykeman, who served as my vice president for many years. Thank you, Chris. Great to see you again. And I'm glad that FAU was brought up. I'd like to give them a plug. Because not only do they have an excellent accounting department, but as a 40-year forensic accountant, I will tell you that they have the best graduate program in forensic accounting anywhere in Florida. And I would expand beyond that, but I am not knowledgeable about the other programs. But not only does FAU do a great job, but they continue to try to be innovative, and I recommend everyone who's interested in forensic accounting to check out the FAU program. And I'm sure they'll be quite satisfied. So thank you once again, and lots of good luck.
Thank you so much.
How about a plug to increase
Peter's budget.
Yeah, well, we have to save something for the next meeting.
Are there any more questions of Calinthia? All right, thank you very much. General?
Well, thank you, Calinthia. Again, I'll say a little more at the end about Calinthia, too. So, great, successor. I can't say enough. Let me finish up with some of our major accomplishments since we've been here as an office. And again, this not only includes my 12 years, but 4 years, my predecessor, in the work that she did in establishing the office, what we've done over the 12 years, and this team has done the bulk of this. Again, over $77 million of question costs that we found in the county, brought to folks' attention, and we are better in accounting for our tax dollars today than we were, again, years ago because of this office. $25.7 million in potential cost savings that we found. We've made 1,432 recommendations to make government better through this office, and with a 92.3 acceptance rate, which in the IG world, that's pretty good acceptance rate of having that. The vast majority of people, they're very cooperative. When we find these things, bring it to the agency's attention, they recognize, yeah, we need to be doing business better. They take it. We have a robust follow-up program. So we don't just put them out there. We follow up to make sure that they are implemented. These recommendations are implemented, and we're making government better. We share we talked about this through our outreach programs. We are very robust in sharing best practices and also showing the bad things, the red flags, the things to look out for. So we're active in training. 24 arrests directly from our work. Now, there's been other arrests from our referrals and very tangential involvement, but direct result of the work that we did, providing over to law enforcement, 24 arrests. And again, 769 cases that have been referred to law enforcement, commissions on ethics, and then they've taken action, multiple actions on them. Now, in closing out, just next week will be 50 years of government service that I've been involved. Many of you know I went to college to be a minister. And I thought, before I went to seminary, I thought, well, I need to get a little more experience under my belt before I go into the ministry. So 50 years later, here I am. And I started out in the Marine Corps. And in the Marine Corps, I got my introduction to the Inspector General world. So I was the Deputy Inspector for the Marine Corps, the Deputy Inspector General for the Director of National Intelligence when that office stood up. And then I was the Inspector General for the Defense Intelligence Agency for the 8 years before I came down here. This is the longest job I've ever had. I guess, I don't know if that's good or bad, but 25 years in the Inspector General business. And I love the work I do. I've been committed to integrity, transparency, accountability in government. I have worked with great people over the years, and particularly you've seen the staff up here today who spoke today, from Stu and Hillary, Tony, and Calinthia, and they just represent part of the great office that I have here. I mean, I want to say, people have asked often, John, what's the biggest accomplishment, the biggest investigation, or what do you remember? My biggest legacy, the greatest thing that I have done, I think that I look back on, is assembling this team here, of being able to work with and train with and be with this team. And they hear me say this a lot. And just to let you know, I'm not kidding when I say this. They're not just my colleagues. I've treated them as my colleagues, my friends, my family. And I've appreciated just working with them for these last 12 years. And the legacy that I think I leave to Palm Beach County is this group of pros right here, and Colinthia, to top it off, is to be the next IG. I mean, I'm proud of what I've done and what we're leaving behind, but I know Colinthia will take this office and have a fresh set of eyes on it, and will move us, to that next level that we need to go as an office in this ever-changing world. So I want to thank you all for your support over the years. The IG committee have just been a fantastic, positive, asking good questions, giving good recommendations, good conversations. And I don't know if I should let you know, but I mean, some other IG committees that I know across, nightmares that other IGs have across the county with their committees. We have just had a great relationship, I think, with our IG committee. And I want to thank all of you for your service. And I know this is extra for you. And I appreciate the service that you've done above and beyond for the citizens of Palm Beach County, for our office, and for the Commission on Ethics. And so I started out again years ago wanting to go into the ministry, and now I've got 50 years of experience, and I think I'm ready. As most of you know, I'm going, even though I'm retiring here, I'm going into full-time ministry right here in Palm Beach County. And so we can still see each other if you want to come to my church up in North Palm Beach. And I've loved IGs. IGs, what do we do? We are fact finders, we're truth seekers, we speak truth to power. And so I'm proud to say that's what I'm going to continue to do. Now, in a different venue as a Christian minister, I'm going to seek the truth and present truth to power. So thank you all. And again, to the staff, thank you. I can't say thanks enough for all you've done and all you do. Thank you very much.
So after the 22nd, it won't be general anymore, it'll just be reverend. Are there any public comments? Are there any comments from the commission? Oh, Paul, you're going to give us an update on the contract negotiations with Colinthia.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, committee members. Thank you again for allowing me the opportunity to come out and address you in this meeting here. Contract negotiations have gone well. It's been a pleasure to work with Ms. Dillard throughout this process, and we are projected to have the contract go in front of the Board of County Commissioners for approval in June.
Brevity remains the soul of wit.
Exactly.
Any comments from the commissioners?
As to the...
That's it? Oh, I'm sorry, questions?
No questions.
He didn't give you anything to question. Any comments, general comments?
General
All right.
comments. I would love to leave our parting remarks for John and to thank you. Just to thank you for the legacy that you leave behind. I always say that success is not marked by our efforts necessarily and what we do in the job, but it's really marked by what we left behind. And hearing you talk about your outstanding and highly credentialed team time after time after time, leaving us with Colinthia as your successor, and the work that's been done with Stu and Hillary and Tony and all the names that you mentioned, that just tells us not only were you a great leader, but you were successful at the work because you're leaving us in really great hands. And so I wish you all the best. I will be seeing you. I might pop into your church. But I want to thank you for a job well done. And I think I'm proud to not only serve in an elected capacity in this county, but I'm proud to be a resident here. And that's partly because of the work that you and your team have done over the years. So thank you. And I wish you well.
Anyone else?
If I could, just another quick comment, John. I first met you actually through your wife, Leah Carey, who got me involved 10 or plus years ago in a number of boards. And Then I met you when I was appointed to the Ethics Commission. And it took me, I think, about a month to figure out that you two were married, even though you had the same last name. But one day you happened to be at her house, and I figured something was up there. But again, thank you so much for all you've done for us.
Wish you the very best, General.
Yes, I hope to see you at the services, Reverend.
All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.